Okay, I remember to record. Right, welcome to this week's skills call. Tonight we're going to be covering what you'll hear in the business as the colour personality. So people bound these little phrases around all the time, so it's a really important skill to cover so that you understand what they're going on about. This book here on the screen by Tom Big Al Schreiter goes through it all in so much more detail. It's so expertly written. So I would really recommend that you stick this on your personal development list and bump it to the top of the list and read it as soon as possible. Working out basically what somebody's colour personality is, what their personality type is, will help you to instantly build rapport and communicate with them, and then they're more likely to probably join your team or sign up as a customer because people like them. So the idea is on this, what happens in utility warehouses, we do training on colours. We spend the whole time talking about what colour we are, making excuses for our behaviour. Oh, you know, I can't be nice because I'm a red, for example, or I can't concentrate because I'm a blue. But actually what this is about is working out what other people's colour personality types are so that we can match and mirror them so that we can get into rapport with them as soon as possible. And this goes when people join your team as well, because you're going to need to know how to mentor people effectively. You can't just do it your way and hope they fall in line. You need to find their way. So people in my team or people in the business who know me, the reds think I'm a red, the yellows think I'm a yellow, the blues think I'm a blue, because I adapt to who I'm with. And that's something that's not natural, it's grown, it's the way we can all do it, it's very easy. So what I'm going to do tonight is just quickly run through the colour personalities. So, you know, when you start to get people's character, you can probably decide what they are. Now, we're all a little bit of every character, of course, we're not just kind of one-track minded, but this is basically your colour preference. So although we're all a bit of everything, you'll have one which is more prominent than the rest. And that basically, I love it how Will describes it, you know, when everything's done, what is your default colour? So, you know, when all the jobs are done and everything is sorted and you've got nothing else to worry about, Will wants to do something to help other people or to make a difference in the world. And I want to sit and chill and probably go to a spa. So he's a very yellow, kind, caring personality type, and I'm more of a blue, kind of, I'm all about the fun and things like that. And so that's what we go through. And when you hear it at training, you're like a blue, red, yellow, green. By the end of tonight, hopefully you'll understand what they all are. So let's try and see if we can flick through these slides. So here they are on the screen. Now you will see here we've got open people at the top. So they're people who are, you know, open to ideas and suggestions to people. They're more like people's people. And then closed down the bottom are task orientated. On one side, depending on what side of the screen it is, direct and outgoing people, and the opposite of that is indirect and reserved. And that's how the colours kind of fit in with basically how we are. Now, quite often I said about how we all have a colour preference or a mixture of colours. It's not very common for you to be complete opposite on this chart here. So it's not very common for you to be a sort of diagonal, a yellow, red. Okay, it's not very common to be a blue, green, and you'll understand that more as we go through the pools. You're more likely to be one colour next to each other if you're going to be a mixture, which most people are. So our yellows do so well in this business because it's all about helping people. So these are the kind of traits that yellows have. These are your open and indirect people. So they are feeling orientated. They like to be included. They are emotional, they are kind, they are caring, they are nurturing, they're like excellent mentors because they really care about people and they want to get the best of them, they genuinely care about them and want to make a difference in the world. So this is a perfect business for yellows. So the sorts of things when you go into a yellow's home, you'll probably notice lots and lots of pictures of their family on the walls, for example. Maybe if you're in the kitchen, they're making you a cup of tea. On their fridge, it might be covered with pictures that their kids have drawn, or postcards and photos and all that sort of stuff. So they're little kind of clues that you can look out for. Evidence of family around the home would be quite clear in a yellow's home. We can ask them what sort of things they do for a living. It's quite difficult to pigeonhole people, but you know, if you're talking to a teacher or a nurse or a social worker or someone who works in a nursery, they're likely to be prominently yellow. So just by asking what someone does for a job, we could pretty much work out what their main colour is. So when they talk, You want to match how they're talking. That's another way of how they're talking. If they're talking quite slowly and calmly, then you're probably going to know that they're a yellow. So you want to match the way they talk, slow down, and again, so this is matching and mirroring. So this is getting into rapport with people. Other things that aren't on this slide is how yellows dress. They don't like to stand out necessarily, and they'll probably go for comfort over anything else. Jewellery-wise, they'll probably have something. They're likely to wear the same jewellery all the time, and it's probably going to have some sort of sentimental value. So they might have one of those necklaces with the kids' handprints in it. They'll probably just have kind of wedding ring, or maybe an old-fashioned ring, which would be passed down to them. A bracelet that maybe has got charms on it. They're the kind of things that you can look out for in yellows. But most likely they're not going to be standing out. They're not going to be in sort of bright colours or anything. They're just going to want to fit in and be comfortable. So they're our yellows. A very typical yellow is Mother Teresa, obviously. This is a very, obvious example, but trying to make it as simple as possible without pigeonholing people, just looking out for those little clues so we can get into rapport with them. So our blues are next to our yellows, open and quite direct in the way they talk. They're mainly, they'll be attracted to this business because they like the fun. So for those who know me, I'm a blue. I put quite a lot of pressure on myself and I like to achieve things. So lots of people think I'm a red, but the things that I want to achieve are the holidays because they are fun. I've never achieved anything really of kind of any sort of financial. It's all holidays and hampers and champagne and days out. So it's quite easy to get the reds and blues confused sometimes because blues tend to be quite focused on fun. Again, they like people and feelings and relationships, and they talk very fast. So you're going to go to a blue, they're probably going to be quite talkative and they're going to use their hands quite a lot, and that's the sort of thing you can do to match them without looking like you're sort of doing semaphore, but just kind of to get into rapport with them. That's probably how they're going to talk a lot. You'll notice they use their hands and they speak quite quickly. They do tend to be unorganised sometimes, make quite quick decisions, especially if it's to do with having fun, so we're not wasting time. Always like to see a bigger picture in things. So again, when you're talking to blues about joining the business, you're going to want to talk to them about the holidays, about pizza, about Epsom Derby, all those sorts of things. They're the sort of things you're going to want to focus on with a blue. How much fun we have, how we always go to events and we have parties beforehand, how we have a Christmas party, how we have a summer party, how we have a pre-party party, whatever it is, just focus on the fun stuff with the blue. They're not going to want to know detail, they just want to be in. They're great in the business as well because they're talkative. They're quite persuasive in that they're quite normally, not attractive as in good looking, but they're energetic, they've got a good kind of magnetism about them, so people are kind of drawn to them quite a lot of the time. Most blues have quite a lot of friends, and so therefore probably have quite a big network of people to tap into as well. So when you go into a blues home, you're probably going to be looking out for sort of like glitzy stuff, probably on show some sort of drinks or glasses, and the glasses are probably going to have sort of glitter on them or diamantes and things like that. So that's the sort of thing you're going to be looking out for in a blues house. Probably something to do with just fun. You'll know it. It's probably going to be a bit messy as well, but you'll know the blues. They'll have like glitzy signs up in the bathroom and all that sort of thing. With their dress, they like to wear quite bright colours. They like to stand out. Glitzy, probably. It's interesting because when we're talking about designer stuff, the blues might have designer stuff, but it's probably going to be fake. Their jewellery will most likely to match whatever they're wearing, and their clothing will probably have like soft lines to it, but bright colours. Glitzy shoes, looking a little bit different like that. Jazzy, let's describe them as jazzy. So when you're talking to them, again, at fast pace, the best thing you can do to a blue is compliment them. So compliment them on something, whether it be something they've obviously got pride over, their house, or their earrings if they match their top, or whatever it is, but that's the best way to instantly build rapport with the blue. They like to be complimented. They're very excitable. A little bit hyper, so they're the ways to spot your blues. This is just a really very silly, obvious blue there. Someone who likes a lot of fun, is always known for throwing tellies out of windows. It's extreme, but that's how we're doing it. Okay, so up next, so quite often you'll have a yellow blue, quite often you'll have a blue who's a little bit red as well. So here we go with the reds. They're on the opposite, so self-contained and direct. And even the way that this slide is written is how a red will want to see it. So when you're communicating with a red, if you're communicating them by text or email, quite often, sometimes you only sign up a customer and they come back to you with a text message and they want to know stuff. Reply to that with very, almost bullet points, very formal, fast-paced, simple writing. Get straight to the point with a red. Bullet points are brilliant. They are results-orientated, goal-driven leaders. They can be called bossy. They're very good at delegating, and they must win. Of course, so reds are brilliant for this business, of course, because they get it and they just go for it. So it's that they do tend to do very well as the yellows and blues. So likeliness when you go to a red's home, you'll be looking out for things like trophies, signs that they have maybe won some stuff, achieved some things at work. So they might have, I expect our reds have their picky trophies up somewhere. But obviously before they join the business, they're likely to have some sort of sports stuff because they're quite competitive. In the porch, you might see gym wear, running gear. They tend to be quite sporty most of the time, but they tend to do sport alone, not team sports. So again, with work, they're likely to be in something like sales, reds, some sort of managerial position, and that's the way to find out what they are by asking what they do. Hobbies-wise, it's going to be stuff on their own. So probably going to the gym or running or golf, stuff that they can win at on their own. And dress-wise, I've got here dress success. So they will be looking sharp. If they have anything designer, it will be genuine. They would not wear fake. And they're power dressers. So that's the way to spot a red. You'll never see them looking scruffy. That's your easy way to spot a red. So our Andrew Lindsay, our CEO, the youngest CEO in the city. He's an Olympian. He has a gold medal. But what we always say about Andrew is that he won as a team. So he knows how to build this business and get the best out of his team. So maybe if you'd have asked him what his sport is and he said team sport, you might have been a bit confused. But the fact that he has a gold medal from the Olympics shows us that he is most definitely a red. So we need someone like this at the top of the company, leading the way for us. Do brilliantly in this business again, but they get the best out of people. So sometimes people are saying, oh no, they're reds, they can't mentor. That's not true. Reds are very, very good at getting the best out of people if they use their skills effectively. So last but not least, our greens, who always they're given a hard time, but they shouldn't do. The charisma bypassing, I didn't write these slides, so that's not fair. And they do get given a hard time, but you really shouldn't, because we do need greens in this business. And again, they do very, very well. But they're not going to want to know about holidays. They're going to want to know details. They're going to probably want to be given as much detail as possible before they make a decision. They don't make decisions on the night generally. They're thinkers, but they're dependable. So, that's the sort of person you really want in your team. The sort of person who's not going to let you down. They'll know stuff. I go to the greens in my team when I need help with knowing stuff because I'm not brilliant at retaining information, but they are. It's amazing. Got here boring? They're not boring. They're very, very interesting in what they are interested in. So if you can engage a green in something that they know stuff about, you could be talked at like you're talking to a red for hours if you want to. So very easy to build rapport with a green. Difficult to know with their home and their dress, because they will dress functionally. So they'll dress for the occasion. So if you said to a green, I'm having a party at smart casual, they'll turn up smart casual. But if you said to a green, I'm having a party and it's tiaras, they would turn up in a tiara. So it's, they very much do what they are told. So again, when you're in their home, it's quite difficult to spot a green because their home will be functional. So if they are a family, it will be a family home. So you might mistake that for a yellow. So it's very difficult. They're difficult to spot, but they tend to with their jobs. They're accountants, lawyers, solicitors, insurance, the details people. And again, ask them what they do in their spare time, and you're likely to find out from that what they do. And like I said, in this business, greens do get given a hard time, and we shouldn't do that because we all need greens. And here is a great example of your green personality. And this is Charles, who owns Utility Warehouse. So without him, none of us would be here. So we all need greens in our life, and we need the greens in this business. So he was an accountant, and now he owns Utility Warehouse. So it's very obvious if you were talking to Charles that you'd be able to pinpoint him as well. And he's always dressed very functionally. When you go to head office, he will be smart, but he wears slippers because that's functional. And that's what he wants, to be comfortable in his environment at work, and he wants his staff to feel comfortable. So if he wears slippers, they are likely to as well. So let's not judge him for that. So these are the sorts of questions that we can ask when we're building rapport to find out what colours our prospects are. So what do you do for a living? Again, you know, so yellows, they're caring people, nurses, teachers, social workers, that sort of thing. Blues are quite hard to spot, but they're most likely work in a team, and they'll do something fun. And when they talk to you about their job, they'll probably talk to you about it quite excitedly and very fast paced. Your reds are probably going to be managers, sales, quite high up, work independently. And your greens are likely to be your accountants, solicitors, insurance. What do you do in your free time? So we'll look out for hobbies. So your blues are likely to be interested in maybe theatre, music, socialising, food, eating out, spending time with friends. Your yellows, if they do a sport, are probably going to be a team sport. Your yellows probably volunteer their time for something in their spare time. And your, where are we, reds? Again, if it's sports, stuff they're going to be doing alone probably. And greens, difficult to know. It's a difficult one with greens, but whatever it is, they'll know a lot about it, and they'll be able to give you a lot of detail. But they won't be fast-paced and excited like your blues. They'll just tell you about it in a very calm, slow, concise way. So that's to tell the difference between those two. And this most important question is, what do you like most about your job and hobby? So, for example, if I asked someone what they did and they said they like to run, now straight away I think you're probably a red. If I say, oh, what do you like most about running? And they'll say, you know, a red, we like, well, I just like to get fit. I want to be on my own. I get it done. I can be in and out and, you know, get home, and that's that. But I know a lot of yellows who love to run because they like to take time out. They like to be in nature. They might say, well, you know, I'm a mum and I spend all my time being a mum and I love it. But running is the time for me that I can go and just be in nature and have some fresh air and some me time. So the way they answer that question can help us determine what their main colour personality is. So I hope that helps, and keep it short tonight, because although it is a bank holiday and therefore Sunday, people are still socialising, I do know that. So any questions, rather than open it up on here, because we've got quite a lot of people on here, just drop me a message tonight. I'm going to be on my phone for the next sort of 15, 20 minutes to add any extra help with that. I did remember to record this, so I'll stick it on the YouTube channel, and I will stop that now. So any questions, do ask me. Please do get that book. That will really, really help you building rapport with people. And again, it's just about, all we want to try to do here is work out how to communicate with them, what would be best to talk to them about in the business. Okay, so this is so that it's quite common for us to talk about what we think is important about being a customer or joining a team, but we need to work out what's important to them and what language to use, most importantly. And that book goes into loads more detail about how to communicate in their particular language. So to hopefully, first of all, get into rapport straight away, and then secondly, be able to kind of close that on the night. So I'm going to stop it now. I'm going to let you all go and finish with your